I just want to do something. Okay, good. We'll look at what email security is. We'll look at facts about emails and email attack. We'll look at email securities and associated vocabularies. I recall that in Pastor General's opening remarks, in one of his videos, he said to us that one of what we will learn in this module is to equip ourselves with some vocabulary so that when we get in the midst of the big boys in cybersecurity, we can also make some boasts. Okay. So email sender and receiver path. We'll look at landscape of email threats, email security measures, and then we'll do a live demo of how to conduct data analysis. What then is email security? Everything, whatever it is that we do that is targeted at protecting our email facility, it's email security. Whether we are safeguarding ourselves so that our mails are not being tampered with when we send them, or whether we want to ensure that what we don't want, junks, spams, viruses, malware, don't come into our inbox, or we don't open them so that we don't fall victim. Any of these actions that we perform falls under email security when it concerns email opening or receiving or sending emails. Why is email so important? That answer is as many as each of us in this room today, or as many as over 7 billion users of emails all over the world. The importance cannot be overemphasized. However, email has become a major attack vector today in the world. It is over 70% of phishing attack. In our last lesson, Dr. Ipachinyere talked about phishing. Now, phishing, over 70% of attacks today that comes through phishing gets to us or gets to the victim through email. Hence, email becomes very important for us to safeguard. Some simple facts about email today. And I said earlier, as of today, it's estimated that about 7.9 billion email accounts are available all over the world. And of this 7.9 billion, 4.26 billion are active. Look at it. Over 300 billion emails are sent and received every day. And just in the last few seconds that I started this class, and now more than 2 million emails have been sent, which amounts to about 3.13 million every second. You can imagine the number of emails that will be sent and received before this live lecture comes to an end. That is how important emails have become today. Again, apart from these facts, some other facts about email attacks. As I said earlier, if you look at here, it says over 3.4 billion phishing emails are sent per day. And I remember in Pastor General's today's newsletter that came out early today, that's material number 6. It says, the bad boys are everywhere, whatever their name is, and 3.4 billion attempts are being made, almost on a daily basis. 3.4 billion, that's huge. How do we ensure that we don't fall victim? Or when perhaps it wants to happen, how do we prevent against it? All of these are what we should be familiar with as experts or intermediates in cybersecurity or email security. What are then the common threats around email security? You recall I said in our outline that one of what we want to ensure today in today's lesson is to equip ourselves with some vocabularies. We are familiar with phishing, spear phishing, whaling, spoofing. All of these are familiar terms when it comes to email security, and I've tried to simplify the definitions, and we can go through them once we have this fast, because maybe after at the end of the module. We have BC, business email compromise. Today, this business email compromise, form a major part of email threats in the world, and is gulping so much in terms of money and losses. God spare us from that. Malware, zero-day attack, credential harvesting, and ransomware. Okay, in addition.
Okay, we're losing your voice
DMARC,
now.
TLS, okay. And mine. When we hear all of these, am I being heard, sir?
Go on. We can hear you now.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, so when we hear these terms, what do they mean? SPF means sender policy framework. I'm going to talk a little about SPF, DKIM, and DMARC as we go along in this lesson, because they form major parts of email security. So what are the measures that are available to us today to be able to secure our emails? We have email gateways, we have sandboxing, blacklisting, quarantining, multi-factor authentication. If any one of us, I'm sure most of us have, if we have read the latest newsletter, we'll see that Baba also emphasized the multi-factor authentication there again in the newsletter, then spam filtering or spam filter. Under detection and analysis, terms that we should be familiar with includes heuristic analysis, behavioral analysis, threat analysis, and of course, indicators of compromise. I think in lesson 2, the distinguished professor told us about the parts, how the internet works. So how does the email works? Hi, I'm here, Oladejo. I want to send a mail to my co-speaker for today, or presenter, Mr. Ali Abdrazak. So what I do is, from my own computer or my device, I sent that piece of notes or whatever I want to send to him. It goes through my email service provider, in this case, Google, and then through Google server, it connects to the internet, and it's been accessible between the server and here. There are some protocols, particularly the SPF, wants to check if that email is good to go. It goes through the internet, then comes to the server of the recipient. The server also checks, depending on what security protocol or measures that the recipient has put in place, the SPF, the DKIM, or the DMARC. That will tell whether this particular incoming message is good enough or not. The same thing is what we can see here. So today, with all of this, what the landscape of email threats includes, like I said earlier, phishing, spam or scam emails, spear phishing, whaling, malware, smishing, and vishing. I'm sure most of us, maybe not most of us, some of us, I have actually fallen a victim, maybe not a victim now, but I've had experience of vishing before. And what is vishing? Where somebody just call you and say, hello, Oladejo, how are you? Are you not, you're a worker of LASU? Yes, I have a research grant that you can ask, Mr. Man, where's that money coming from? But, if you have that, what you call ojukokoro, you may also want to fall a victim of that. And, so that is phishing, and it's common today. We should be wary of it. When we see calls that we are not familiar with, we should run away from them. So today, we'll be looking at a few other email security measures. One of them, we know what the threats are. We know phishing. We know all of these that are coming to us and that we don't want. But how do we prevent against them? There's what is known as end-to-end encryption method. There is the strong password that was also emphasized in today's newsletter, the two-factor authentication, multi-factor authentication, the YubiKey. The YubiKey is one very good facility today that we can use to protect our emails. And how does it go? For example, if you want to access my Gmail or my Google account, even if you manage to get my password, by whatever means, you can't get into that box because you will still need my phone to be able to confirm that I should allow you in. Beyond my phone, you also need my thumb. So you may also get my phone and also have to count my thumb because I have it there encrypted. So all of these are measures to ensure that I am somewhat safe. Then the sender authentication protocol, I said we'll be discussing about the SPF, the DMK, and then the DMARC. What are they? We'll look into it. Today, there are services online now, cloud-based services that we can employ to protect our emails, particularly if it's about business emails. If you're sure that what you are sending or receiving is of importance to you, then you may want to put up some security measures.
5 more minutes.
Thank you very much, sir. So examples of all of these service providers today include Proton Mail, MailFin, StartMail, and the alternatives to our regular Yahoo, our regular Outlook or Gmail. But all of these you will have to pay. Usually they range between $38 and $70 per annum. And the Microsoft 365 Business Premium is one very good email security provider today because it operates on end-to-end encryption. When you send an email, it is difficult for anybody to intercept it before it gets to the recipient. And even when it gets to the recipient, the recipient also needs some permission to be able to decrypt what you have sent. So like I said earlier, so what then is SPF? If you look at our olden days ways of sending mails, you write a mail, put in the envelope, write your address at the back. That address put at the back is your SPF, and the server will always want to check that for you, your service provider, to see whether, okay, I am receiving a mail from Ali Abdrazak. Is that mail actually coming from him? Okay, if it's coming from him, I can see that his address is at the back. However, how am I sure that the content has not been tampered with and the content is actually from him? Then I'll be looking out for his signature. The DMK here, or the DKIM here, the DKIM represents Ali Abdrazak's signature. And that is, today in our email, it comes as digital signature. And the DMARC, of course, is looking at both the SPF and the DKIM to see, okay, with these two, is it good to go? If it's not good to go, I put it in the spam. So as email users, it is important for us to set these security protocols on our emails. At the end of this lesson, I have provided some links at the end of these slides that we can go through to be able to set up our SPF, DKIM, and DMARC, both on any of our regular providers, whether Yahoo, whether Google, or Microsoft. So I said I want to do a live demo. We'll quickly run that in 2 minutes, and these are the steps I'll be going through. We'll go through, and anybody as I speak can also follow me if you're using your system. We'll go to our Gmail box, we'll open any mails, we'll locate the 3 dots at the right corner, and then we'll follow all of these 8 steps. I'll stop sharing this screen now and go to that, and we'll spend 2 minutes in doing that. Yes, 2 minutes, we're almost there. Okay, so this is my email box. I have opened this. Let me go back to inbox. So I will say, okay, this is the latest email on my inbox. So I will just open this. And what am I looking for? I want to check if this email is secure. So I'm looking for my SPF, my DKIM, and my DMARC. So what I do is I open this and I come to these 3 dots. You will see the word more. I click on this more. Once I click on the more, I come to show original. I click on show original. As I click on show original, it's going to bring out this information about that particular email. And I look at my SPF here, it says pass. My DKIM here says pass. My DMARC here says pass. If there are issues, it could be fail, it could be soft fail. And then you will know that, okay, this is not good. If anything is attached to this email, you don't want to do that. But you can go one step further. I haven't seen that SPF has passed, DKIM has passed, and DMARC has passed. Let me then the next thing to do is click on this copy to clipboard. Once you click on it, open a fresh browser like this, and then type in MX Toolbox. This is what you get. What you have copied, okay, let me open a new one. This is what I've copied. 1 minute now. Okay, MX Toolbox. Okay, this is this. And then I'll just come to MS Toolbox, and I want to analyze that header that I've just looked at. I'll come to analyze header, and then I'll paste that header. Remember, I have copied it to clipboard earlier. So I've pasted it, and once it's pasted, the next thing I do is I'll click on analyze header.
You have 1 minute to round up?
Yes, I'm almost done, sir. So you can see the output of my header analyzer. The DMARC is telling me that my SPF is safe, my authentication is safe, the DKIM is safe, and that email is good to go. Okay, it's about that. And then next is like I said earlier, I have provided for us some links that we can follow through. These are the screenshot steps that we can follow through to be able to go over this again. These are common tools that we can use for email verification. And then these are links that we can also use. That is what we are going to do today. How do we secure our email and ensure that what we are sending and what we are receiving is safe? We should always remember that it is the responsibility of every individual to be cyber secure. Thank you, sir. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Let's give Dr. Oladejo a round of applause for that very well presented lecture. You can do it with your physical hand or with an electronic hand. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you, sir, for that very brilliant presentation. Email security. Without wasting time, we'll move on to the next topic for today. which is identifying and avoiding scams. So this will be taken by Abdul Razak Ali, a cybersecurity expert. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
You have 15 minutes.
All right, sir. Good afternoon, distinguished professors and scholars. I bring you warm greetings from Lagos State University, African Center of Excellence for Innovative and Transformative STEM Education. My name is Ali Olari Abdrazak. Moving forward on our cybersecurity education journey, this afternoon I'll be
Sorry,
leading
Ali Olawale
on the
Abdrazak.
topic
There are some
identifying
market
and
women around
avoiding
you
scam.
there. There are
Before I
some market
proceed, I
women
want to
around you there. There's some noise. There are some market women around you there. There's some noise all over you there.
Okay, sir.
Okay, carry on. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. And I will first want to really appreciate the impact and the good gesture that we are enjoying from our distinguished Professor Emeritus for giving us such privilege to come and showcase part of what he has taught us in the past. So I say a very big thank you to you for this opportunity. Moving forward from here, I would love to mention as some sort of opening remark that scammers don't scam or hack system. What they do is to hack minds, especially intelligent ones like reputable persons here present. And of course, during the course of this live lecture, we'll be looking at how to identify and spot common scam, detect red flags, and as well as check out emails and links for their safety, how to respond smartly in critical situations, and above all, I hope that by the end of this session, each of us will become a little more conscious or paranoid when it comes to our online or digital space. I would love us to recall what we saw from the very first video lesson sent to us by our distinguished MS professor, where he was able to create a very thick line of similarity between our digital space and our physical world, telling us that a lot of things go almost in relation to one another. So understanding targeted attack. Scams. Scams are economic crimes run by individuals, criminals who are often very organized and sophisticated. It's important to mention at this juncture that a lot of individuals find it difficult to distinguish between scam and regular hack. Some sort of analogy would be that hacking can be likened to breaking into a house using lock picking tools, while scamming is like convincing the homeowner to open the door to you or for you and hand over the keys. So it's about identifying psychological vulnerability of the person that is to be scammed. So, and of course, there are certain things that scam is, and we have some other things that scam is not, just as is rightly displayed on the screen. Majority of us or some of us in the past might have fallen victim of this scenario of what I ordered versus what I get. Such actually do not belong to the scam category. That can be some sort of changing among others. So once again, like I rightly mentioned, scammers use social engineering techniques in conjunction with technological tools to manipulate high-ranking individuals. And what do? They try to check out for vulnerability in their psychological configuration, leveraging on, threats, their greed, urgency, authority, protocols, among others. And the reason why such attack would, create much exploit is because people who so much believe in the power of trust and authority will not want to question too much when they come across these attacks. So what are the common types of scams that we have? A lot of, our past speakers have talked about this, and I don't want to bore us with so much again. So phishing, which is just like my senior colleague rightly mentioned earlier, that is one of the most common, instance of cyber fraud. It involves fraudulent emails or websites that resemble legitimate sources. And the primary aim is to guard the victim into revealing, passwords or financial data or other confidential information about them that may lead to financial losses and identity theft. Then we have smishing, which is the SMS version of phishing. Then, of course, there is a phishing as well, the use of voice notes or call to perpetuate phishing. And we have the business email compromise, just as rightly mentioned. And this can equally be known as pretexting, which has to do with impersonating an executive or a trusted entity through email or other social media platform to make, an unsuspecting employee or subordinate at work to perform or execute fraudulent transactions without verification. Then we have money moves as another instance of scam that is there. So this has to do with scammers using people to receive money, obtained from victims of fraudulent activities without their knowledge. So when scammers observe that they don't have what they can get from you directly, then they recruit you, without your knowledge to assist in their network of money laundering, trafficking, illicitly recovered money, among others. So academic fraud is equally one of it, just like Dr. Ladejo rightly mentioned. False research grants, admission frauds, among others, are very much popular, especially to those of us in the academia. So now that we've gotten some glimpse about the common type of scams that are there, so how do we now prevent and boost our awareness about them? So this particular information I'm doing out currently was part of what was reviewed earlier by one of our speakers that was for the last week session. So when we are online, we have to be extra conscious, and put up all sense of vigilance to look out for certain red flags, especially in messages, in phone calls, among others. And we look out for generic greetings that are not very specific, that do not really mention our names, may not be directly, meant for us. The misspellings, there is this tendency for people who are perpetuating, scams to usually make mistakes, since they are not, they may not really understand the vocabulary, the register that is pertinent to that profession all along, and they just want to, it's very easy when one is very observant to discover if a particular message or email is genuine or fake. Then unusual sender addresses, that is sender spoofing. For instance, we can have a mail from a professor from Unilag or LASU, and we understand that such email should end with .lasu.ed.ng. Such email will now end with social professor at lasu@outlook.com. So that alone is going to give us an instance that such email cannot have been originated from the LASU's database. Then, of course, we have unnecessary attachments and unexpected links attached to the mails. So these are instances of red flags that we need to watch out for in email. And lastly, scammers will ask you to pay in unusual or specific ways. For instance, they may ask you to use some preloaded debit card, paid through bitcoins and other cryptocurrency, just to ensure that such money, after it has gone into the account, will never or can hardly be traced. Okay, so this is also part of what we need to look out for. Like I said earlier, the social engineers, they leverage so much on our psychological vulnerability, and when they are able to get this, they see them as attack vectors, which will enable them once again to exploit our trust, authority, our protocols, among others. So urgency and fear. There's a way that such mails or messages or calls will sound that will, bring some sort of urgency and fear to you. So when you see messages like act now, or maybe there is an offer that is going to end in 24 hours, such kind of situation, one needs to be very careful. Authority, you can have instances like from the office of the VC, and such mail will continue in that manner. Then too good to be real or to be true. Sometimes we do receive messages, telling that one have been shortlisted for a grant, or maybe an employment that did not really apply for, a grant that did not apply for. So that is beckoning on one's gullibility or greed. So that is also another
5 more minutes. 5 more minutes
from a scammer. Then emotion, they also play on the emotion of people, the goodmanship to want to, go at them into, doing out their money unnecessarily. Then unusual payment method, like I rightly mentioned, paying through debit card, iTunes card, virtual currencies like Bitcoin, among others, are equally tactics that these scammers use to scam people. So it is important to equally look at real life examples, just like Dr. rightly mentioned. The data are there. So this is from 2020, a registrar who fell victim to a phishing attack. So what I'm trying to bring forth here is that despite the fact that we are in the academia, does not mean that we are, not vulnerable or we are not targeted victims. In fact, recently, research are showing how so much, online fraudulent attacks are channeled or directed towards, people in the academia as, prospective victims. This was another instance of a government employee case who equally got a call from, an email from a spoofed account, pretending to be a colleague and then requesting for sensitive data. And that led to a very devastating scenario in the organization. So what are the practical steps to adopt to avoid scams? Like I said earlier, this has to do with our psychological framework, our state of mind. So it is not limited to how well we guide our devices. There's a way these scammers will manipulate you that you yourself, that you put all those passwords and details. If you are not, if you don't understand these red flags, you might find yourself undoing all those, locking yourself and then submitting your credentials to them. So then we need to, aside from being vigilant, we need to confirm information directly from the source. For instance, if you receive a mail, we can check through the core directory or the university's register or school's register to confirm if such mail has been, initiated in the past or something, and confirm from them, take that route instead of jumping the protocol. So it's always better to follow the precedents in that manner. Then we also need to employ the multi-factor authentication, just like Dr. Elijah rightly mentioned. So by the time we start, clearing the layer one after the other, then there's all this every tendency that one might have come into the right senses that one is almost about to be scammed. So just like what we are doing currently, it is important to foster this cybersecurity awareness. Let's endeavor to inform others around us. Let them get informed about these red flags as well. So by the time we all are aware of all of this, then definitely our cyber hygiene will definitely be boosted. So the impact of scams on reputation cannot be overstated. A lot of officials have fallen victims or prey to them, and it led to loss of credibility in public, lack of, loss of public confidence among others. So it is important to protect ourselves against such crime. So I love to ask us this question: that let's consider a scenario where you receive a WhatsApp message from a supposed dean.
1 minute more. 1 minute more.
Requesting immediate action on a project. So how would you respond to such a message to verify its identity with your colleague? This is an open-ended question, a rhetoric one, which can equally or always be answered, on our own. Thank you very much, sir, for the opportunity, and I also appreciate every one of us who gave me listening here. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir, for that very wonderful presentation. A round of applause, please, for our speaker, Abdulrazak Ali, for that well-presented lecture. Thank you, sir. So without wasting any time, it's time for the plenary discussion session. And I can see that hands are already coming up. And I would like to hand over to our Facilitator General, sir.
Thank you so very much,
us.
our great host. You have done so very well, and our speakers also. As usual practice, if you raise your electronic hand, like we can see so many hands are up, we'll call you in quintets, in five batches of 5. And then when you are called, you unmute your microphone, and then you tell us your name and your institutional affiliation. And within that 1 minute, you make your very sweet point. So the sequence now is Professor Chinyelu Ekunife, Professor Moses Akombi, Dr. Amarachi Azubike, and Professor Grace Otinwa and Professor Gabriel Okafor, in that order. Go for it.
Yeah. I'm not being allowed. Okay. Yeah, good afternoon, Facilitator General, Globetrotter, and my fellow virtual classmates. My first comment is to the first speaker. In short, I thank the first speaker.
Please. I'm not going to repeat this again. After this one, I'll just mute you. We've said it. Tell us your institution. I mean, we want to showcase our institution. And also, no need to say fellow speakers and all of that. Just go straight to the point. We have just 1 minute each, so that many more people can take the floor. Professor Kunife, back to you. Where are you from, ma'am?
My name is Professor Chinyelu Kunife from Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Okay. My first comment is to the first speaker. Yes, he did justice to the job, but the last slide on links, he just rushed over it. We did not get that slide. That is one. Then to the second speaker, I don't know if he purposely brought out slides that are not readable. Most of them are somehow confusing. So I don't know what should be done about that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mama Professor Kunife. I will answer for the two. For the first one, like he said, I mean, even if he showed all the links, there's no way you're able to. I'm going to share the PPT files to everybody at the end of this. For the second one, yes, Dr. Abdulrazak Ali's files, slides were quite fuzzy, not readable. But maybe when you get them, you'll be able to read. Professor Moses Akombi, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you very much, Facilitator General. I cannot but appreciate our rising star. My name is Moses Akombi from Lagos State University, and I cannot but appreciate our rising star, Dr. Oladejo, the first speaker. I appreciate the header of the email, but the comment that I just want to add in terms of securing our email is that sometimes you send an email and somehow, maybe due to network break or whatever, the email has not yet gone. So what I have made a practice over time is to copy myself the email I'm sending out. So when I don't get it back in my email, I go back to check that, oh, it's not after the closure of the submission that I'm realizing that the email has not yet gone. So I just wanted to bring that to the fore. Thank you very much, sir.
Wonderful contribution. Thank you, sir. Dr. Amarachi Azubike. The floor is yours, ma'am. Not ready. Professor Grace Otinwa, take the floor.
Thank you very much. I am Professor Grace Olakpeju Otinwa from University of Lagos. Our dear Facilitator General, you are welcome back from your trip, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So the first lecturer, that's Dr. Oladejo. Could you kindly expatiate more on email security measures where you use some terminologies, for example, MIME and PGP? Thank you.
Thank you so very much, ma'am, for making it brisk and to the point. Professor Gabriel Okafor, floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Facilitator General. My name is Professor Gabriel Okafor from University of Nigeria, Nsukka. My comment is to the first speaker, Dr. Adekunle Oladejo. He has just delivered me from technical ignorance. I received a mail a few days ago, and I was contemplating, should I open or not? And because of the attachment, I clicked, but I still had reservation. So during the course of his lecture, he showed us how to just go about it. And I quickly did that and observed all the passes. But I'm supposed to go for the second level, but then it's critical to sincerely commend him for a wonderful lecture.
Thank you, Brother Gabriel Okafor.
And
Thank you, sir,
also
for
the
being
Facilitator General for bringing us
moving on
into
now.
this.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Brother Gabriel Okafor. I'm also a lion myself. Now, we are taking on the next batch of 5 and starting with another lioness, Grandma Prosoche Nanzewi. We'll go to Dr. Peter Ewa Awusa from Spiritual University, Dr. Nkiruka Uche Unwidago, sorry if I pronounced that wrongly, and then Professor C. Adamadu. Hold on now, hold on, in that order. Hold on, let me, I'm trying to cause you to unmute, Grandma, 1 minute. Yes, Grandma, you have the floor.
Thank you
Professor
very
Chinaziwi,
much.
the floor is yours. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I am on. Thank you very much. Please, I want the first speaker, Dr. Olade.
Don't disobey the rule. You have to tell us where you are from.
Sorry,
Don't disobey this rule.
Uche is my name, from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. Please, I want Dr. Oladejo to explain what he means by, UBK. I didn't quite get his explanation on that. I want an explanation. And then the second speaker said that a scammer is like convincing the opener to open the door and hand over the key to you. Please, I will need you to throw more light on that. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, Grandma, Professor Chinaziwi, Dr. Peter Awusa. Yes, over to you.
Oh, thank you so much for the opportunity. My question is to the second. I am Dr. Peter Ewa Awusa from Spiritual University in Nochi, Abia State. My question goes to the second speaker. I want him to enlighten more on the 10 steps of avoiding scam. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, sir. Dr. Nkiruka Uche Unwidago. Sorry, I pronounced that wrongly, surely. She's not ready. Professor C. Adamadu. Professor Adamadu, take the floor.
Yes, sir. I'm here. Thank you very much, sir. I am Professor Adamadu, Federal University of Technology, Owerri. Sir, I think my question is going to the second person who talked about academic fraud. There was some time last year when I was looking for a conference to attend. I got that in Canada. Then, in fact, the day I sent my paper, it didn't take a few hours. They returned it, they've accepted. When I sent my abstract, they've accepted it and everything. Then we now went to the process of payment. And I think I had problem with what they gave. Then I asked them how I can pay. They sent me an address, and that address
Can
was...
you make it brief, mommy? Can you make it brief? You have spent 10 hours.
So how
now,
do we know predatory conferences? How do we identify predatory conferences, sir?
Excellent, excellent. Dr. Mrs. Salisu, and that will end our first batch. Yes?
Yeah, thank you very much, Prof. And we're happy to have you back. My first point of call would be to tell everybody to remain calm as soon as we get those kind of mails that depict fear and urgency. Like someone once told me that is your system. It's like your phone. It's either you receive the call or you don't receive the call. So most of us in academia, especially we that we're looking for conferences like the other speakers, once we see anything that has to do with urgency, we should remain calm, leave the system for a while, and take all these tips that have been given by the two speakers, and we can move from there. I think we can remain safe. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so very much. Wonderful, wonderful advice. Let me go back to Dr. Nkiruka, if you are still active there, ma'am. So But if not, I'm moving on to another batch.
My name is Dr. Nkiruka Uchenwe from Ebonyi State University, Abakaliki. Can you hear me? My question
yes,
is to
ma'am.
the
Carry on,
facilitator
carry
general.
on.
Sir, please.
Carry
now
on,
that
carry
we are
on,
using
yeah.
email, how is it that if you send this email, especially a newsletter, some will get it, some will not get it? And it's becoming a recurring decimal that brings out anxiety attack and panic attack. Like today, I did not get the email address. The
Okay,
newsletter,
ma'am, we'll
please,
address
how can
that.
be
Don't worry
sorted out?
yourself,
Thank
Mama. But Dr. Kiruka, don't worry yourself. We will address that. That's the work of the bad people. The wicked people all over the place. Wicked people. They allow some people to get the newsletter as a mother. So we are going to pray over that. Now, the next batch will be led by our Vice Chancellor, Professor Ibiyinka Fuakpe, Vice Chancellor Michael and Cecilia Ebro University. They will go to Professor Nkiruka Ude, Professor Samuel Adebisi of ABU. I'm not going to take Shegun to me because we cannot see him. Professor P.H. Bameye will take you in that order. Professor Ibiyinka Fuakpe, the floor is all yours.
Thank you very much, sir. My name is Professor Ibiyinka Fuakpe, and the name of my university is Michael and Cecilia Ebro University. You are welcome back, sir. My question is to the first speaker. You told us what happens when we send our email messages. I want to ask, why is it that some genuine messages enter our spam folders? Sometimes we are looking for a mail and it goes into the spam folder. Since the mails are being detected, how come this happens? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Professor Nkiruka Ude, yes.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Nkiruka Ude from Michael Opara, Mudike. My question goes to Dr. Abdul Razak. When we were talking about how to avoid scams, I was hoping to hear about the spiritual aspect of scam, like we all know about this Yahoo Plus, and we also read it also. Our Professor Okebukola also confirmed it in a newsletter where she saw tortoise somewhere. So how do we avoid this particular Yahoo Plus? Is it to cover ourselves with the blood of Jesus Christ, or to pray? How do we avoid this aspect of spirituality that has entered into a scam? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am. You fast for 7 days. Fast for 7 days and 7 nights. Professor Samuel Adebisi, the floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. This is Professor Adebisi, SSR Adebisi from Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. Now, I want to ask my question direct to the first speaker. In our phone, there's a kind of gadget we can set our phone to avoid any unwanted call or SMS from entry. But in email, is there any gadget that have been developed like that so that any scam email can be blocked from entering our email at all? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We'll just take 2 more after Professor Bameye so I can get responses. You know, VICBHE, we said 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock we'll stop. By 3 o'clock sharp, we're going to stop. I know there are so many hands that are up, but unfortunately, that has to be another day. Professor, just a minute. Professor Bameye, PH, and then Professor Taiwo Obindo. That will be 8 for today. Okay, Professor Bameye is not ready. So Professor Taiwo Obindo, take the floor. Obindo, take the floor.
Good afternoon, sir. Welcome back, our Facilitator General.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Dr. Professor Obindo from University of Jos. I'm a psychiatrist. The more I listen to most of these issues, the more I feel that people are a bit more and more paranoid, suspicious of virtually everything. And the question is, at what point do we stop? By the time you put this gadget here, you put another gadget there, and then, at what point do we stop becoming too paranoid? And then for the
thank you very much, sir. That's a psychiatry, this thing, bubbling. Thank you, sir. Now, we're going to stop and yield to Dr. Ladejo. Dr. Ladejo, you have just 1 minute to respond. And Abdulrazak Ali, Dr. Abdul, you have just 1 minute to respond. Dr. Ladejo, take the floor. 1 minute.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. And thank you for the questions, Saz and Mas. The question on SMIME and the PGP is there are terms. I've explained the terms there, but there are terms that represent end-to-end encryption. And so I said that there are service providers today, like Hotmail and others, that you can subscribe to. They are paid versions of email. But when you send email through that, you need to give the recipient the key to open the email, so it can hardly be intercepted. Then, Grammar, Professor Uchenna, UbiQ is like a device, like a USB. If you are, okay, most of us are used to this what do you call it now? When we go to bank and we want to send money, there is this this device we use to authenticate that money. So UbiQ is like that. So for you to send an email, you have that authentication device. Even when somebody gets your password, they cannot enter your email box or without that device. So UbiQ is a
Thank you so very much, Assistant Professor Kule. Thank you very much. Abdulrazak Ali, floor is yours.
Thank you very much, sir. So I will quickly speak on how to identify academic fraud. Just like I've rightly mentioned, we need to check. The first thing first is to take your time, just like one of the people make a reaction said earlier. You first, before you react, you verify the sources. Then, of course, you inspect the email address carefully. Like I said earlier, you equally avoid clicking suspicious links. And then when we are trying to make the payment, we ensure that the payment gateway are secured one. And there are ways to verify this, just like what Dr. Alejo has shown us earlier. And all of these are definitely going to make us to have, a very safe environment to work with online.
Oh, so, yes, very safe environment to work with. Thank you, Abdulrazak Ali, because I'm going to yield now to the host. We have just 3 more minutes, and then we're going to stop exactly, or even a minute before 3 o'clock. But before we end, there was a very important question asked by Professor DBC of ABU that Professor Kunle Oladejo will have answered if he had more time. But what I'm going to do, and that question is, you can set for your WhatsApp and the others, who you don't want to take the call or take the message. The same thing applies in your emailing system. You can set the rules for those that you don't want to take their emails, and those that you want. Those are the rules that actually let the email client short some to spam and take some out of spam. And so I will devote the I'll devote the 1 minute, or if you like 2 minutes of my break time in the next video lecture. I will devote it to it. I'll give you a demonstration of that. Back to you. Thank you all for all your comments. Back to you.
Thank you.
Dr.
Thank you very much.
1 minute to close. Yes.
Thank you, Facilitator General, sir. A big thank you for everyone that has attended this live lecture. Especially, we want to thank our chairman, Professor Aloysius Onyeka, and our 2 speakers, yes, Dr. Oladejo and Dr. Abdulrazak Ali, for the well-presented live lectures. And all the people that contributed one way or the other, we want to say a big thank you. So without any further ado, we have come to the end of this live lecture. We thank everyone for attending, and we look forward to more interesting sessions. Thank you and thank you.
Okay, bye-bye now. Hopefully before the middle, by 4 o'clock or so, I will send the PowerPoint files of the 2 presentations.